Hello. How are you doing? Well, let me fix my camera so you can see my full head. Hi, I'm Keith. I am your meditation teacher here on this channel. This channel is Meditation Breaks, where we learn meditation. And we kind of bounce around in terms of how we can use meditation in our daily life, but it's all geared towards just that, being able to understand how to meditate and how to bring that into our kind of modern life. That way it can benefit us. Right? So each week we do have a topic, but if you're like, hey, I don't even know the first thing about meditating, cool, because we start every week with just a brief intro into what meditation is. How does it work? How do we do it? Why bother? All those questions that you might be asking yourself if you are brand new to meditation. So our kind of itinerary for today is going to be, we're going to start with that, a little look at meditation itself, meditation 101 if you want. Then we're going to do a short meditation together. Very short, be about 5 minutes, just to kind of like get everybody's feet wet. Like, this is how you meditate. Okay. And then we're going to talk about our topic for today, and do a little meditation after that on that topic, right? And our topic for today is all about bringing intention and purpose to our day, and it folds in nicely with kind of the theme of this last month of classes about giving, recognizing how your actions have meaning, and all the cool stuff we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. Okay, so last thing before we get going, if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them to me at any time. You do not need to wait for me to be like, oh, you got any questions? You can just ask them. Best way to do that is to use the chat feature. Then as soon as I see it, I will stop what I'm doing and do my best to help. If you do not want to use the chat feature, or not seeing the show error as a Rosa, maybe try refreshing browser, because I think it's going okay for me, so it might be something on your end. If you're not comfortable using the chat, or you forget, you're like, oh, I thought of a question after it was over, I'm going to give my email to everyone towards the end of today's class, so you don't have to worry about that too much. If you think about something, you just email me. I'm happy to chat about all things meditation related, or not meditation related, whatever you want to chat about. Okay, so let's get started. What the heck is meditation? So this word brings to mind an image. Words bring to mind images to us. We don't really think in that way, but because our mind is impressively powerful, if I was going to say like tree, your mind's like, oh, tree, yeah, this branch it happens really quickly, but you can kind of conjure this image of what a tree is. So for meditation, what is that image? What do we think about when we hear that word? Even if you've never meditated before, you don't know anything about it, I bet you have the same image as I do, and that's somebody seated, cross-legged, perhaps. Maybe their hands are like something like this. They look super relaxed and chill. That is like our image of what meditation is. If you Google meditation, that's all that comes up. That's it. Just countless images of that. And so this can start to be what we think is a requirement for meditation, right? We might think, in order for me to meditate, I need to be seated on the ground with my legs crossed or whatever. Not true, at least in my opinion. Meditation is not a seating position. It's not doesn't require specific arrangement of your body parts to do it. Um, Meditation is a technique that you can use to become really familiar with something. And the methods that we use to do that can be you sitting, you standing, it doesn't matter. There's a million ways you can do it. But the goal, the true like kind of purpose or um, benefit of meditation is this idea of becoming really familiar with something. So what does that mean? Hey, Janice, how do we become really familiar with something? And more importantly, why? What does becoming really familiar with something do for us? Well, here in meditation land, we're talking a lot about mental familiarity, but it is a lot easier to kind of see the benefits or the output rather of familiarity if we think about something physical. So, what about, I don't know, clapping? I'm going to do a new one. Clapping. You all know how to clap, right? People do it different ways, you know. But if I were to ask you, hey, can you clap your hands? You'd be like, oh, that's what you do, and you wouldn't have to put much thought into it. You'd probably be thinking, what the heck is he asking me to do that for? While you're doing it, um, clapping your hands is something that comes pretty naturally to you at this point in your life. It does not require a lot of concentration. Riley, welcome. So good to see you. Um, it doesn't require a lot of concentration, a lot of effort to do it, right? Now, when you were a little kid, you did not know how to clap. In fact, like the concept of hands wasn't even a thing. And then eventually, I think like, parents probably like, oh, and then slowly we start to get it. But the first couple times we try to clap, what happens? We miss our hands, right? It's sort of like this. um, the mechanics, everything involved in creating a wonderful clap, um, is learned over time through trial and error, a little bit of practice each day. At first, it requires a lot of concentration. How do I do this? But the more familiar you become with that activity, in this case, clapping, what happens? It requires less effort. It requires less concentration. We can do it without needing to dedicate so much of our energy into focusing on how to do it and accomplishing this task. Right? This is the benefit of familiarity, and it is our superpower as human beings. To be able to learn, to be able to become so familiar with something that it becomes like second nature to us. Patricia, Andre, I'm glad you guys are here. This is going to be a great class before the holidays, like you said. So that in and of itself has a lot of ramifications, right? Both positive and maybe things that we don't want. Something like getting annoyed or frustrated. We don't have to ever stop and be like, oh, hold on a second, I got to get annoyed, right? No one's ever said that before. That happens pretty effortlessly. We're having a great day. Something happens. Somebody says something, and we're annoyed, right? This is because our mind has had a lot of practice getting frustrated, as opposed to patience, which our mind just hasn't had as much kind of natural training in. And so our mind knows how to get frustrated very easily, but our mind requires help in being patient, not because it is lacking the ability to do so, but simply because that is what our mind is familiar with. your mind gravitates to what it is familiar with. And our superpower as humans is the ability to dictate what that is, to choose what we want our mind to be familiar with for the purpose of that thing coming naturally. Oh, Rosa, I'll look into that after. Thank you. I appreciate that. So that is the purpose of meditation. That is what it is. It is not a seating position. It is a tool to start to choose, what do you want to be your default? What do you want to be the default you? Something like relaxation is really common. People get into meditation to relax, and we might think meditation relaxes me. Meditation equals relaxation. But meditation is not relaxing you. Meditation is teaching you to become familiar with your relaxed self, that version of you that is relaxed. It's in there. You know it is. And by training in meditating with the purpose of, becoming familiar with your relaxed self starts to show up more readily without as much effort. It starts to become your default. So what do you want to be familiar with is kind of the big question of why we're here meditating. What do you want your mind to be familiar with so that it comes naturally, right? Cool. So this sounds awesome, right? But how the heck should we go about and do this thing? When we start training in this technique in meditation, most commonly you will start with breathing meditation. All meditation is, any form of it, is focusing single-pointedly on something so much that you start to really plug into it, glean some things that, some subtleties that maybe you didn't notice before, and all the other kind of thoughts that are trying to compete for your attention, they fade a little bit, right? So when we're doing breathing meditation, we are focusing single-pointedly on our breath. If we were doing walking meditation, we are focusing single-pointedly on walking. If we're doing brushing your teeth meditation, I'll just make that up, we are focusing single-pointedly on brushing your teeth. That's it. All those are meditation. All of them are equally as powerful, beneficial, incredible. Breathing meditation is used as a kind of entry point for a lot of reasons. Maybe the most important, I think, is that it's always with you, right? Which teaches you something really important. You have the tools you need to do this. You do not need to go by that beautiful lake by you that's 10 minutes away. You don't need to, go on a retreat. You have the means to do this simply by breathing, which is something you do quite regularly. So breathing meditation, great entry point to learn this technique. So what we're going to do together here today is we're going to do some breathing meditation. And as I said, all that more formally is known as single-pointed concentration. Right? We're focusing on one thing. We're not multitasking. Now, you are an expert multitasker. I may not know you, but I know you are an expert multitasker because we all are, even if you don't identify with that. Your mind is juggling thoughts, things, countless times each day. Right now, I was just thinking about what to say while moving my hand. My mind is responsible for juggling these things. And it's really impressive that our mind can do that. And there's a lot of benefit to being able to do that in terms of accomplishing worldly tasks. But when we ask our mind to juggle 1,000 bowling pins, there's not a lot of room for them to focus on one of those 1,000 bowling pins, right? If I were to ask you to juggle 1,000 bowling pins. You'd be worried about juggling the bowling pins, not like, oh, this one looks kind of cool. And so this is kind of how our mind has, this is kind of the default that our mind has assumed. It has this amazing ability to do a lot of stuff, but it's not looking too deeply into those things. And so what we want to do here is teach our mind, hey, that's cool, but also cool is focusing so exclusively on one thing that we do start to see some deep subtleties about it. All right? So breathing meditation, and all meditation really, is can be kind of boiled down. Why is it boiled down? I don't know. But the water doesn't I guess it does disappear. I don't know anything about boiling. What all meditation is choosing to focus on something. That's step one. Noticing when you are no longer exclusively focused on that thing you have chosen to focus on, and then being able to bring your attention back to that thing. Riley, sure. Email me. So for breathing meditation, our 3 steps are: 1, we are going to choose to focus single pointedly on our own breath. And this helps set kind of like an intention, some guardrails. If we get off course, like, oh yeah, I was focusing on my breath. We'll talk a lot about intention today. So we're choosing to focus on our breath. We're noticing when our mind is starting to think about what we have to do for work tomorrow, or what, that weird sound we just heard in our house. And when we notice those things, step 3 is being able to say not right now to them. Those thoughts are just thoughts. They're not unwanted. They're not intrusive. They're just thoughts. Just not now. We'll get to them later. And then bringing our attention back to our breath. Choosing to focus single pointedly on something, noticing when your attention has drifted, being able to bring your attention back. That is the kind of cadence of meditating. And the more we do this cycle, the easier it'll become for us to kind of plug into something, to single pointedly concentrate on something. And as a result, we might start to notice some interesting subtleties about that thing. Or at the very least, just relax a little, which is also pretty great. Okay, so we're going to do breathing meditation. It's going to be pretty short. I'm going to guide it, so you're not going to be by yourself here. And you might notice I'm not sitting on the floor cross-legged with my arms, however. I'm sitting in a chair. You can sit however you want. You want to sit on the floor? Go ahead. Cool. You want to lay down? Had a long day? Also cool. Do that. It does not matter. Meditation is not a seating position. We're using our mind purposefully. Okay, so get nice and comfy and go ahead and close your eyes. That will help with some of the visual distractions. And I'm going to guide us through about a 5-minute breathing meditation. Okay. Whenever you start a meditation, take a moment and check in. Ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? In this exact moment. Maybe you're feeling tired after a long day. Maybe you're feeling happy or energetic. Whatever it is perfect. We're not doing anything about it. We're not even analyzing it. We are just noticing. Starting to build a habit of paying attention to what our mind is up to. This is mindfulness. It's a word you probably heard before. So take a moment and check in. Having done that, you can now set an intention, a little promise to yourself. And that intention is for you to focus single pointedly, exclusively, on your own breath to the best of your ability for the next couple of minutes. Let that promise to yourself sit in your mind. This is your only task right now. All other things can wait. The only thing you want to do is focus on your own breath. And with that promise, that wish firmly in your mind, you can act on it. You can turn your full undivided attention to your own breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Very gently and very naturally. There's no need to change how you breathe. No need for deep inhales or forcefully exhaling air. However you naturally breathe, whatever comes naturally, that's what I want you to do. In and out. Gently, naturally. At some point, sometimes rather quickly, you might notice your attention drifting. Your attention no longer exclusively focused on your breath. You're starting to split time. Maybe your mind is starting to think about what you have to do later or tomorrow. Maybe your mind is thinking about something that happened earlier today. Whenever you notice that your mind has drifted from your breath in that way, we can just say not right now to those thoughts. We'll get to them later. Actually imagine, picture yourself taking those thoughts, placing them beside you. And with those thoughts sitting beside you, waiting patiently, you can turn your full, undivided attention back to breathing in and out, gently, naturally. Single pointedly focused on each moment of each breath. What is it like to focus on each moment of each breath? What are all the things that happen in that moment? When you breathe in, can you watch as the air leaves the atmosphere, enters your body? Follow that air through your body as it reaches your lungs. Feel your lungs expand to make room. Feel the energy from a small pocket of air. And what about when you breathe outward? Can you feel your chest contracting? follow the air as it makes its journey back through your body. Watch as that air leaves your body, mixes back into the atmosphere, dissipates. That exact pocket of air, never to be experienced again in the same way. Such a short, fleeting relationship. But what an important and wonderful relationship it is. Breathing in, breathing out. Gently, naturally. Keep bringing your attention back to your breath as many times as you need to. This process of choosing to focus single-pointedly on your breath, noticing when your attention drifts, being able to bring your attention back. That is meditation. You are meditating right now. You are training your mind to tap into its natural, peaceful state. You're training your mind to focus on what you want to focus on. And right now, the only thing you want to focus on is breathing in and out gently, naturally. So for the last few moments, just enjoy sitting here, just you and your breath, relaxing. Take a little time for you. Okay. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello. Welcome back. Congratulations. You have passed Meditation 101. So that was breathing meditation. Pretty straightforward in terms of the steps. Might not be that easy in terms of kind of staying focused on your breath. And this is not because you are not good at meditating. Sometimes we're like, I was distracted. This isn't for me. I can't do this. No. All of us, you, me, everyone, we are equally adept at meditating. The only difference is how familiar we are with doing so. And so this technique, meditating, it takes time. We have to practice it regularly, so that way it's something that has been normalized to our mind. And doing that, there's only one requirement: you meditating. That's it. It doesn't matter if you're get distracted. It doesn't matter if your mind is all over the place. It doesn't matter. You practicing is the practice. And over time, that is what is going to lead to all these cool things that we've been talking about. All right. Great. So that's breathing meditation. I'm going to move on to our topic for today. And as I said a little earlier, this topic kind of is rounding out some of the things that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. If you have not been at those classes, that's totally fine. There's not like a prerequisite or anything. But over the last couple of weeks, we've been focusing a lot on our actions, giving, how our like small actions can have big ramifications. We've been talking about how um, our mental actions are really important for leading to these wonderful physical actions. And so today we're going to kind of um, wrap that up with a look at how we can start to bring some intention and purpose into things that we're already doing in our day, to kind of give them that deeper meaning. Right? So, what are some things you have accomplished today? We accomplish a lot of stuff each day. We don't often think of them as accomplishments, though. You woke up. Congratulations, right? It's an accomplishment. You got up. You did it, right? Here's this thing. You did it. You probably ate some food at some point, right? You've accomplished the act of eating. Congratulations. Maybe you went to work. You have accomplished going to work. Or like you read a book. You've accomplished reading X number of pages, right? Everything we do in our day is some sort of accomplishment, right? There is a thing and we did it. Great. We don't often think, though, that all of those accomplishments have purpose or meaning, because when we think of the word accomplishment, it is steeped in this idea of meaningful. Is this meaningful? Right? And what actions are meaningful changes from person to person, right? It's kind of subjective. And there are some things that maybe ubiquitously we might think are kind of meaningful. Like if we go volunteer, most people will probably be like, yeah, that sounds meaningful, right? But what about something like eating, right? Meaningful in that we better do it, otherwise we are going to have some problems, right? But like, what's the purpose of doing this? Just to survive? Is that why we eat? To enjoy? Is it delicious? Is that why we do it? What about something like making money, right? Like we go to work, we get a little paycheck. Cool. We've accomplished that. But what's the purpose? To pay our bills? To buy cool stuff? Like all of these things, right? So in the course of a day, even just looking at a couple hours of that day, we have accomplished a lot of things. And if we were to analyze those things, some of them we would consider to be meaningful. Others we would consider to be necessary, whatever, I don't know. But not like purposeful, right? Purpose. So when we, start to talk about this idea of purpose and whatnot, maybe you start to think, oh, I gotta like stop doing the stuff I enjoy so I can go and join the Peace Corps or something. Like, no, this is not what I'm saying. In fact, the like beauty of training in intention and purpose is that you can imbue great purpose to the things you're already doing. All of the things that we just like talked about and all the countless other things you might have come up with. All of those can have really meaningful purpose behind them. So, at the kind of core of this concept is this idea of intention. What is intention? We hear that a lot. Intention. Intention, if we think about it quite literally, is I intend to do this thing, right? So we might accomplish something without really intending to do it. All right. So I don't know. At its like most or least granular level, I don't know. Maybe we're trying to make a delicious snack, and we like accidentally combine things. I don't know. I'm just making something up, right? We've accomplished something, but our intention maybe it was just to eat instead of like make this thing that's really delicious, right? So intention doesn't always line up with what we're doing. And when we start to align intention with action, that's where we start to be able to bring purpose into these activities, right? I had a teacher, a meditation teacher, long time ago, who said that you should live like a tiger walks. Actually said this in class, and like with no context. It's like, you should live like a tiger walks. I'm like, let me think about how tigers walk. Okay, they're like prowling and stuff like that. At first I was like, what is this guy talking about? But what they were trying to illustrate is that if you think about how a tiger walks, every step is purposeful. Every step has intention. Tigers do not like, oh, I'm going to go over here and then I'm going to go over here, right? No, tigers are like, this is me walking like a tiger. Every step, thoughtful, purposeful, right? What would it be like if everything you did was like that? Maybe you're like, that would be exhausting. So intention is starting to, it's a way to start to walk more like a tiger does, right? It is a sincere promise to engage in something fully with your mind. And the result doesn't matter. Intention isn't about result. It is about it is a sincere wish to engage in something completely, right? And the interesting thing about intention is only you can know if that promise is sincere. So there's a lot of kind of like self analysis that has to happen, which isn't always is sometimes painful, right? So intention is hard. It's a hard thing to practice, right? But bringing intention into something has a lot of really awesome benefits. One is that we start to maybe notice some subtleties about that thing in our meditation, right? If I was just like, hey, breathe, you're like, breathing, right? Cool, we're breathing, but we're not noticing that much. But we kind of spent the first part of our breathing meditation setting an intention, right? Purposefully promising ourselves that we're going to focus single-pointedly on our breath. We're going to engage with our breath fully. We're going to like do this like a tiger, but with our breath. And what happens? Oh, we start to notice some cool things. Oh, like it's interesting how I can feel my lungs expand when I breathe. And then when I breathe out, they contract. And then that pocket of air goes. Where does it go? I'm never going to see it again. But it was pretty important. Let me continue living. All of these subtleties about breathing, they're always there. Like, intention isn't creating them. It's just a catalyst for noticing them, if that makes sense. And another thing that intention can do is bring purpose to things that we might not naturally associate as very meaningful. Right? Okay, so I'm going to do some examples. One, I'm going to use an example. I'm going to use me as an example. I don't like cooking. I don't like it. It's not something I gravitate to at all. If I could order pizza every day, I would. My partner also doesn't like cooking. When you have two people who do not like cooking, it's an arduous task. And I don't know, it just feels kind of mundane to me. It's not something I gravitate to, right? So I naturally struggle to cook, right? And one thing I have noticed is that if I instead, like, if I was like, oh, I got to cook, I'd rather go and do this other thing, right? Cooking starts to feel like a hurdle I have to get over, right? But if I change my intention, right, my purpose for doing this thing, I've noticed that it starts to become less mundane. And that the kind of thing that I've tried to hammer home to myself is, what if instead of cooking to just kind of get it done, I'm doing this to eliminate it from my partner's to-do list. They don't have to worry about this. They can spend more time on this thing that they enjoy. Right? When my intention was to cook to help, I enjoyed it more. It is probably never going to become something that is a passion of mine, but it did not feel like a burden. Right? Andre, focusing is something I just do if I need to, but intention is deeper. I have to think about that and attach purpose to that task. Yeah. Intention, sometimes I refer to it as a compass. Compass? We don't really use this anymore. We have GPS. But compass, it tells you kind of where you want to be. But it's not like, hey, go here, right? It's sort of like, this is the direction of east, north, whatever. How you end up getting there is up to you. Intention is our compass, right? As we go through our day. If our intention is to be more kind to other people, if that is firmly planted in our mind, it's like a compass. When we start to get off kilter, we're like, oh yeah, that's what I want to be doing. It also, to your point, Andre, you have to think about it less because it is kind of committed into your mind, right? It's easier for you to recall why you're doing this, essentially. Cool. Yeah, thank you. So I have transformed cooking, right? And so it's something I have to do anyway. But if I simply by changing the kind of intention of it, it changes the activity itself in some ways, right? Eating. We use that as an example. Sometimes I eat because I'm hungry. Sometimes I eat because I have to. Sometimes I eat because that thing that I'm going to eat, well, it tastes really good. Right? These are all very common things that we, think about when we're eating, or reasons why we do it. What if we changed our intention a little bit? What if, hey, I'm going to eat this so that I have the energy I need to be alert, to be available to other people? We're still eating. It's the same sliced pizza, but the meaning behind it is a lot more meaningful, right? I'm doing this to nourish myself so that I can be there for other people. Or something like exercising, I think is a good one, right? Why do we exercise? Sometimes we want to look good, we want to be attractive. This is not me being attractive. Feel better, run faster, lift more things, be strong. All cool stuff, can let us accomplish some really cool stuff. But why? Why do you want to run farther? Why do you want to become stronger? What's the purpose? Right? So, in addition to exercising for these reasons, we can kind of imbue an intention into it. And maybe that intention is something like, so I can be healthy and be around as long as possible to experience the world, to help other people, to like give, right? It's the same activity, but it has a much more like impactful meaning behind it. And it doesn't mean that you have to like change anything about what you're already doing. Keep exercising. Keep doing it to look absolutely wonderful. But also, why don't we try setting this intention here? Let's see. Maybe that makes the activity even more enjoyable for us. Now, all these things I said are not, maybe besides eating, are not something I particularly gravitate to. But something I do really enjoy is playing video games. Love them. Always have. And that's a really good example because there's a stigma that it's kind of like a waste of time. Right? Or like childish or something like that. All opinions on that and anything else is just that, opinion, right? What dictates if something is a waste of time or not is your intention, right? So I have started to think about when I'm playing games, like, can I imbue a really positive intention on that? For even if it's for me to like, use my creative brain, like creative part of my brain to kind of nurture that, to teach others, to help if I'm playing with other people, to help others, encourage them, build them up. You can take any activity, however meaningless it might seem, and you can turn it into the most meaningful thing ever, purely by intention. And that's the power of intention. And it is a tough topic because only you know what your intention is. And sometimes that wavers. And so being able to check, that's why we do like the check-in, right? At the beginning of the meditation, starting to learn how to like observe what your mind is up to, observe where your intentions are, right? It even works with meditating itself. Instead of meditating so that I can, be less stressed, what if meditating so I can be less stressed for the purpose of being able to be kinder to others, to be more like emotionally available to others? That's a much deeper meaning and purpose for doing this activity, meditating. Cool. So we're going to do another short meditation, and we're going to imbue some intention upon it. And that kind of last thing I touched on, doing this for other people is kind of what we're gonna focus on here. Cool. Okay. Get nice and comfy. If you didn't like your previous seating arrangement, you of course can change. Close your eyes, and we'll do a short meditation together. Okay. Before we get started, I want you to bring to mind the image of a tiger walking. Not running, but walking. Slowly, purposefully. Each step soaked with intention, with meaning. For the next couple of minutes, this is you. This is how you're going to meditate, like that tiger. Every thought, purposeful. This is our intention. To engage in this practice of meditating fully, to the best of our ability. To meditate like that tiger walks. So start doing that. Start breathing in and out, but with purpose. Just like a tiger walks, with the utmost intention. Each breath in, each breath out. And if you notice your mind wandering a bit, maybe you're no longer walking like that tiger. You're starting to think about a bunch of different things. We can just say not right now to those thoughts. We have our goal. We have our mission. And that is to meditate like a tiger walks. In and out. Gently. Naturally. Purposefully. When you're meditating in this way, with intention, some subtleties start to appear. Maybe you're noticing how the air feels cool on the tip of your nose every time you breathe in. And when you breathe outward, That air feels warmer. Maybe you're noticing your body participating in your breath. Your shoulders gently rising when you breathe in, falling when you breathe out. Everything you, your mind, your body, an active participant in each breath. Fully engaged in and out, gently, naturally. For the last few moments, let intention take you even deeper. Let it change the core purpose of what you're doing right now. You are training in meditation, taking time out of your day to train so that you can be the best version of you for all other people. You are meditating for them. What a meaningful use of your time. Okay. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Great. Pretty much the same thing we did before. But this time we kind of set an intention to do it intentionally. And then at the end there, we can experiment with changing our reason for doing things and seeing how that might impact the practice itself. Right? Cool. So that's it for today. Hopefully you found this to be relaxing, enjoyable, and all that. If you did, I encourage you to come back. Now, this is going to be the last class that I do until the new year. Rosa, I'm glad. Thank you. Pat, thank you. So you have a little bit of time off for me. And then in the new year, we'll start again with our regular Wednesday cadence. All right. In the meantime, if you have like any questions, you meditating on your own and you're like, oh, I'm not really sure about this, email me. I'm going to put my email in the chat. It is keith@meditationbreaks.com. Keith@meditationbreaks.com. Cool. I think that's right. That's my email. Feel free to email me anything that comes up. Also, email me if you might be interested in doing any kind of private one-on-one instruction. I do offer that. It's a really great way of starting to hone in on what you want to accomplish with meditation. I do it all virtually. It's pretty laid back. So if that's interesting to you, you can email me as well, and we'll find a time to get together. Shelly, thank you. Janice, thank you. I do hope everyone has a wonderful holiday if you're celebrating, and a wonderful 2 weeks. And I will see you in the new year. Take care, everyone. Thank you. I love all of you. I have so much appreciation for you spending time with me each and every week. It means a lot to me. I can't believe another year has come, and it's been really wonderful to spend it with you guys each week. So thank you. Take care, and good luck meditating. All right. See ya.